Welcome to the Grief Pie Podcast. This is a show where we motivate and inspire men to share their grief one bite at a time. Thanks for tuning in and adding your voice and stories so that we can all heal and find joy together. Now please welcome your hosts, Gary Scott and James Rafter.
Hey guys, it's Gare, and there's my big buddy Jim Rafter, and welcome to another episode of Grief Pie. And on this episode, we're going to touch on a brutal topic for the both of us, and maybe for a lot of you guys and gals out there, but it's about the post-holidays, the season without our other significant other, and how we survived that or not survived it, depending on how it went. Jim, I know that you went on the gym road trip, the 5,000 miles. You could have gone to the moon and back on your road trip with Jim. So, man, you covered a lot of shit. How are you feeling at the end of these holidays here?
It has been, thank you for that, my friend. Love you. It has been amazing. Ups and downs, of course. You never get through this first year alone easily. I'm fortunate to be able to have done something that probably very few people can do, which is work from the road and just put my dog in a truck and go. And I did it, and it was fun. It has been fun. I'm still on it. We're just kind of finishing up a little bit. But the holidays are over. I didn't handle everything perfectly, which my message to everybody would be, don't ever challenge yourself to be perfect all the time. Had some bad days over Christmas because of missing a big piece of who I wanted to be with me, which is Jen. But overall, the road trip has been amazing. Anytime you can circle the country, and I circled the country. I went 40 up, 20 down. And for all you that can understand a map of the United States, y'all get it. Great places to see, amazing people I met. The only problems I had were when I had to get into places where I needed or wanted Jennifer to be there.
I mean, you literally covered Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, right? I mean, you've been on the road that long, right?
Yeah. I threw Finnegan. He's out here somewhere. I threw Finnegan in the truck, my work stuff, files, my printer. I'm probably the only guy in the world that drives around with, file cabinet, printers, computers, and sets up his office every day in a hotel room, and works, 8 hours at, weird times. But that's what I'm lucky I can do that. And the time zones, I got to a point where I didn't even know what time zones I was in. It was insane. And until I got back here to California. And right now, y'all, I'm in Sacramento, just kind of finishing up the last week with my granddaughter's first birthday. And we got all of our family together, 2 granddaughters, and so it's been worth it, but it has been hard. You, sir, how'd you do?
Well, I mean, you're really on your first Christmas it's your second technically, but the first was such, a blur for you because Jen passed in September. This was not a good one for me. I've been getting better with them, even though this is my ninth. This was my ninth Christmas since April passed. But now that we have baby Jet, we've got the new little critter, who's just over 1 year old. That it was just brought a lot of stuff back. Wasn't very good. Couldn't quite get in the mood. Elisa suffered with that, and the rest of my family, as I'm like, nah, you guys go ahead. I'll sit this one out, right? Like, no, no, you can't do that. So yeah, but you, being on the road and which was good. I mean, that was great that you got out there, but you kind of ended up with family, and then things just kind of got a little sideways there, huh?
Yeah, so one of the things I've dealt with my whole life is anticipatory anxiety, which again, I would love to talk to anybody out there that knows about this or feels it. It's just this thing that comes on. I've had it since I was 2 years old, where my hair fell out. I throw up. It's just in our DNA. It's our family. My kids have it. It's really rough. So it's just this thing where you overthink everything. And I'm again, Christmas Eve, I'm fishing in a river, fly fishing, catching 2 pound trout, having a blast. And all of a sudden, I'm 4 hours into it, and all of a sudden I'm in a place I don't want to be on the river. I'm sinking in the mud. I'm got to cross the river, and I'm all of a sudden it comes on, and it's cold. I'm not comfortable, and from that point on, it just yeah, it hit me, and it took me 2 days and Christmas to get over it.
What made it come on this time when you're kind of like in your happy place there, you know, in your waders, which I've realized is a fishing term, your waders. I mean, why do you think that just popped in there?
I
Because
have
Jen
no,
Jen didn't go fishing with you, right? She wasn't standing
I
there next to you in the river.
I have no idea. So, and I it's I have no idea, but it it happened. So I'll tell you a story. It happened as a child. I know this as a young child. I was always throwing up, nervous, worried. Again, hair falling out. Doctors, and they're like, he's fine. He's a crazy person. When I went in the Marine Corps, it was that moment in my life where I kind of thought I overcame it. Again, you've never been to boot camp and got off the bus and jumped on the yellow feet. Hopefully, someone watching this understands what it means to jump off the bus onto the yellow feet, and where you have to like let everything go. And I was able to do that for many, many years. But for some reason, going through what we went through the last 5 years, it all came back. And I'm trying to figure it out. And I have good days, bad days. And I don't know. It's a weird feeling. And I scared the crap out of my sister because I'm at her house for Christmas. and I didn't get out of bed on Christmas Day. And she's like, you need to go to the doctors. I'm like, no, this is just normal. I'll be fine in like 24 hours. I don't, no one understands it unless you go through it. With
So
this
what
anxiety,
happened? What happened Christmas morning?
it wasn't Christmas morning. It was the fishing trip that I was in the river. I'm cold again. I've got a really bad ankle that I broke when I was 18. So sitting in a river for 4 hours and then trying to cross it over rocks and up and down. I mean, I wasn't comfortable in that last couple of hour or two of fishing. And it went. And when I go,
Was that
I go
Christmas?
hard.
Was that Christmas Eve?
Yeah, that was Christmas Eve day.
So it kind of carried over to Christmas Day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. When I hit it, I hit it hard, man. I mean, I'm like Hunter Biden on a crack pipe. I'm just what's oh was
That's hard. That's pretty damn hard. That's all I'm saying. So you get up, or don't get up Christmas morning. There's kids running around, there's food, there's people, right? It's your typical awesome Christmas morning. And where's Uncle Jimmy?
yeah, I'm in bed and they want Grunkle. I'm Grunkle because I'm the great uncle.
Right.
These are all my nieces and nephews' kids, right? So I'm Grunkle, great uncle. And they want me playing. And I go downstairs and the noise and the smell of the food that we were cooking, and I couldn't do it. I knew that it would take me, 24 hours or whatever to get through it. I know the process. And no one else understands that. They just think I'm, have cancer or sick or something. And I'm not, and I'm fine. It's all mental.
Where were you last Christmas?
Same place. I was in Atlanta.
That's what
I went to
thought,
Atlanta.
yeah. And did you have the same thing last Christmas? Because I mean, Jen had just been gone 3, 4
No, no. And that's the weird thing, right? Is
Yeah.
I did not have this, but I think I developed more of it over the last year since she died. Because I get in more spaces. Because again, we talked about this, where the first year, the first few months, is kind of a blur, and you don't really understand what you're going through. And I'll pass the ball to you for a little bit of context of year 1, 2 to year 9 on how you get to that point.
Well, we've talked about this. It's like you're doing the right thing. And I know it's painful. And like I said, it's kind of like walking through glass, right? I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this, but I mean, I ran. So I'm just happy and gay for the first couple of years, in a relationship, whatever. And I ran and buried my head. And then, man, it hit me like a ton of bricks and a car wreck, and then it just started getting worse. So you, my friend, are, eating the frog early, and you're putting yourself out there, and you're trying to get normal, right? Get healthy. And it's painful, right? I mean, it's super painful, but you're doing the right thing, right? By getting out there and living again and facing it and not running from it. I mean, it's kicking you in the nuts, right? I mean, you've had, especially on this trip, like we talked about before. I mean, shit, you're 4 or 5 hours alone talking to Finnegan, your puppy, on the road. Your mind's not a safe place to be, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in there on that road while you're going to the next spot and the next spot and thinking about Jen, and now you got the holidays. I mean, that's a pretty wicked gauntlet.
Yeah, and it's what I was trained to do in the military, was plan flights, plan trips, like A to B, B to C, C to D, right? That's how I function. So that's kind of cathartic, because I can control that. What I can't control is what you just said, is when I get in my melon and start thinking about, Jen and what we could have done, would have done, how we would have done it. And there's days I just don't know how to like get out of that. And I don't know how to tell this to folks, other guys listening. You're gonna feel it. You're always gonna have that open space, that wound that you don't know how to bandage. And we're gonna figure it out. I
Hope so.
hope,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, but you're doing it out the gate, which is super healthy. I didn't. Some people won't. You know, I've talked to a number of people since we started this that are like 20 years into it. My mom is 30 years since my father's passed. She won't even go in the same freaking bedroom. She won't sleep in the same bed that they shared 30 years later. She hasn't dated. So some people never face it and deal with it. And, for me, this holiday was, again, it was Baby Jet. It was like, Alicia's an awesome grandmother. She put on the whole dog and pony show Christmas, right? She did all the shopping. She did all the stockings. She put up the tree. I don't even think I put up one stinking ornament. There's probably 100 on there, right? I don't think I hung one ornament. I mean, I didn't do jack diddly squat, right? My heart just wasn't in it. I could care less. I just wanted it over, because it's like there was someone missing that should have been there for Jet. Not for the holidays, but for Jet. So it was a big gaping hole that there's nothing you can do about it, right? You can't, you just have to get over it and get through it, right? You didn't want to get out of bed. You didn't want to go down there and see the family. I didn't even want to be in the same house either. Fortunately, my son put on the Christmas the first time ever. So I didn't have to see all the stuff, you know. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I felt bad because I made the whole trip to be like not alone. And then I chose to be alone on the most important day and missed out on all my little ones, that love me to death. But they all understood. My sister understood, my nephew, nieces, they all understood. There's no recipe. There's no way to describe how we feel. We are, that was a tale. when we are, when we feel alone, and guys, gals out there listening to this, your loved ones will love you no matter what. Don't be afraid to just, if you gotta curl up in bed, then curl up in bed. No one's gonna judge you. No one cares. Well, they care. They
They
worry.
care. See,
No, they
but what
care
but
and they
what
worry.
you're saying right now is so crucial because, um, I ran and put on the happy face, the typical Gary, everything's great thing, no, don't let anybody in, don't share the emotions, don't tell anybody what's really going on. And I paid the price for that, right? I did the same thing with my cancer diagnosis. I just kept too much to myself. I paid the price for it, and by you putting yourself out there and exposing yourself to that and letting people see that, they're more opt to reach out and to be there and to help you, which is going to help you get through it faster, right? We can't lock down. We can't lock down. We got to share it. We got to let people know, hey, we're not weaker or we're not less people, right? For wearing our emotions and trying to get through this. It's the opposite. You get weaker and you get more, it tears at you, right? If you hold it in, you got to let it out.
What you just said is so true. And for everyone listening, weakness is not weakness. Don't ever think you being raw, emotional, vulnerable is weakness. Everyone has their weak moments. Their moments where they need to just cry. Shit, man. Finn and I were driving the other day, and I just started crying. And he's like, and I have this, okay, so folks, he's over there now, but I have this amazing dog, and he just, sat up and walked over and just licked the tears off my eyes. Because I just got in this moment of being sad that Jen wasn't here. So weakness is not weakness. Sadness. What do I want to say? Sadness is not weakness.
Yeah. It's amazing how it hits you. I've talked to a lot of people about this, about how it just creeps up. If you have balls, it grabs you by the nuts, hits you over the head with a board. Like I said, I've been sitting there working out in the backyard, sitting on the bench, doing a set of curls, put the weights down, and all of a sudden, wham! Next thing you know, I'm just wailing. I'm just like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, where did this come from? The grief just hits you. But you said something on a past podcast that has stuck with me. I don't even remember when it was. Could have been a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But you said, I'm probably going to screw this up, so hopefully you'll remember it. But you said something to the effect of grief and I think it's grief and stress are totally different. And so by putting ourselves through this stress of trying to maintain this illusion of everything's okay, right? Just compounds the grief. And I don't think you said it that way because we were talking about something else, but it was so profound about the grief and stress combo because we want to not share the grief so much and be a dolly downer to people, right? So we try to remain strong, whatever the heck that means. But that creates massive stress. And so when you put that together, I was like, wow, I'm glad that was on film somewhere. I don't remember what episode, but it was so true, right? It's so
Yeah,
stressful trying to hold that shit in.
and for us, our personalities are so similar, right? We're the funny guy in the room, right? We're always, when we walk into the room, we're always like
On.
on the bright light, right? We're the sales guys, right? We always have to, not have to, we just are, right? We're the guys that brighten the room. I mean, there's never a moment when I walk into a hotel and check in, right? And the gal at the front desk is, oh my God, you got a great smile. And, and then I'm in love with her and because she's Filipina, but it's a whole different issue.
Oh,
The
hey man,
point,
you're gonna love living in Bakersfield.
the point is, our personalities are always to be on and bring everyone else up. And people always just expect that from us. And it's a chore sometimes to where we just, again, I'll go back here to curl up and sleep for 24 hours and not talk to anybody.
No,
And
it's like the tears of the clown, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's like it's the tears of the clown. It's like you said, we walk up, we greet the hostess, waiter, waitress, bartender, whatever. I mean, we want to make them feel good, right? That's just who we
yep,
are, and we could be dying inside, right? And
yep,
at some point, that takes its toll, um, and it hits you differently than it hits me. It hits you way harder. I mean, you'll pull over and start puking, but I mean, it still wears you down. And I think it's taken its toll on me these last few years when I have tried to bear it even harder, being in a new relationship, not wanting to share too much of my grief with my new wife, not wanting to burden her with this stuff and that stuff. And then you get cancer, and then you're like, shit, this poor woman really needs to just move out, man. She married a shit show. She has no idea the shit show that she married, right? She's probably like, is there like return policy like Amazon?
she did not have an application for you to fill out.
No, I would have been declined. No, no, that bad boy would have been kicked back. But you know what I
No,
mean? So
no
we
love
are the same.
credits for you.
Huh?
No love credits.
Yeah, no love credits. But so like I said, but you're facing it now. Right. And that's a big message that I keep coming back to, as you could probably tell, because it's really important for me to express that. Again, we've talked about this. There's no rhyme or reason, right? There's no rule book. Everyone handles this differently. Men, women, children, however this comes down, you handle it differently. But I just have to emphasize, if I could, please try to not run and hide. Please try not to just put that happy face on and hide it from the world. You got to get it out. You have to let it out. You have to share, right? Which is what we're trying to do here in a roundabout way, right? But I mean, you're getting your ass kicked, but you're doing the right thing.
That is spot on, is worth sharing. And it's really hard to open up, to let everybody into whatever we're feeling. Again, my trip across the country, everything that's going on, it's an open book. And I met some amazing people. We talked about it on, previous episodes, people I've met. Uh, that's the fun part. And the hard part is those lonely times when you wish and you think about who should be with you, who could be with you, and they're not. Uh, it's a tough play to get through all those emotions, but you got to get through them because you can't
Eh,
stop.
And it's just as brutal or almost more brutal sometimes. And I think you experienced a little bit of that during the holidays. Um, and I experience it all the time is when you're with people and you still feel even more alone, right? Because it's like you talked about today, you're there with the kids, there's 9 of you, and you're like, there's supposed to be 10 of us, right? So you're sitting there like, dude, I'm with my whole family. This is joyful. It's the baby's first, but it's almost like I'm alone because that one person is not there. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah. So to that point, to that point, and I've told this to people since when Jen first died last year, and I went to Arizona and went to the RV park with a 55 and older, and it was just a nightmare. And I actually said it to my sister and brother-in-law over Christmas is, and this sounds really harsh, but I think a lot of people think about this after they've gone through what we've gone through. I hate happy married couples. Tell you, fuck
Listen,
you.
that is 1,000,000,000% true. And I know that for a fact just from dating. Like, right? Like when I was in my little tiny phase of dating, the couple years I was, um, you see a happy couple and you're a single person and you're like, screw them, happy assholes. I'm not happy. Where's my, you know, screw that. I'm paying
Yeah,
$500 an hour to get happy. This is ridiculous. But it's true. And
yeah.
I think a lot of single people who are in that dating world, which I hear sucks, will agree with that. It's like
Yeah,
I can't even be
I
happy for a happy couple.
yeah, I going through my dating situation right now, right? Is That's the whole thing is everyone's miserable. And it's so frustrating because we had everything, right? I mean, we had it all. I mean, 30 plus years of nothing but just your best friend every day, snuggling and waking up and pooping with. And so it's,
And the fear of never having that again is massive.
oh,
Even if,
shit.
you
Yeah.
haven't gone too deep down the dating rabbit hole yet, and we covered that on one relationship episode. We're definitely going to go to another relationship podcast because
Sounds fun.
there's way
Sounds
too much,
fun.
there's way too much there. But honestly, it's a real thing when you're with somebody, there's just something missing, right? You're like, I'm out of here. But you in the back of your mind, like, maybe I screwed up because maybe I won't find someone better than this, right? Or maybe I won't, or am I chasing April? Which is a
Uh,
massive disaster. Like you can't chase Jen. Don't even try, right? I can't chase April. Don't even try, right? And during the holidays, I think it was especially compounded. Like I said, Elisa was a rock star, right? She did everything, everything. I didn't even put a bow on something, right? But still, there's certain holiday traditions that we had in the 30 years that we were together, right? That you just miss. And you can't recreate them in the holidays. I mean, we had epic, epic holidays, epic Christmas because she had a massive family, right? She's talking 75 people at a Christmas Eve party every year with tons of food and booze and laughter. You can't recreate that. It's not going to happen, right? So, that's what compounds the holidays is those sort of traditions, right, that we all had. Now you bring in 2 granddaughters, I bring in a grandson, and it's like, well, shit, man. It just, it's like, well, that sucks. And I was just like, I even felt bad, feeling bad that it's Jet's Christmas. I'm like, you little shit. I mean, luckily you're too young to know what you're missing. But within the
Right.
next couple of years, it's going to be like, dude, your grandma April would have been eating you alive. Right. And it's sad. It just sucks.
Oh, it is the hardest thing that you could ever go through. Um, Other than dying yourself, which would be
But
easier,
that's easy.
right?
Yeah, you're gone. Who gives a shit?
Dying's easy, living's hard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a song about that somewhere from Johnny Cash.
And you've been to the Johnny Cash Museum, so you
I
would
have.
know. So you would
Yes,
know.
I do know. And yeah, it's you feel guilty, you feel, oh, like,
Guilt's
why am
brutal.
I here and why is she not? Because she would be so much better at everything that's going on right now than I would. I mean, all I do is pay for shit. She would have just been, uh
Oh, the guilt sucks, man. The guilt sucks. And the
it's
holidays just compound. It's not like it's not bad enough on a regular freaking day, right? But just the holidays compound that because it's like this was when they would shine, right? I mean, it's not like April was a cooker or a baker or any of that stuff, but just her putting together skills of being the Rose Kennedy of the family, right? And just merging all this madness together was just so epic to watch, and everyone turning to her for shit, and just and it's just like that person's not there, and so it just doesn't happen. The magic's just kind of not there, and again, it's not for the lack of other people stepping up and trying. It's just different, and
yeah,
it's just different.
yeah, and so I think what we need, what I need, right, as I talk about this and open up, is that, and to help anyone else going through all this, is we got to get through it, right? We can't wallow. We love our word wallow. 100% and wallow are our two favorite words.
I'm told I cannot say bizarre or rabbit hole. I'm told I cannot use either
Well,
one of
you
those
can
terms.
always do
Or even
rabbit
worse,
hole,
together to say that was a very bizarre rabbit hole. I'd really get hammered for that.
but I think what we have to like impart on other people and on ourselves, because this is kind of a journey of self cleansing for the two of us. And hopefully there's people out there that will listen and build on this and will help them. That's kind of our goal. It's not just us two here sitting here babbling about being sad. It's about, we're trying to get through this. We're through different sections, and understanding where everything goes in this process of losing a loved one, uh, going forward after tragedy, whatever it is, that we can help impart, um, a way for everyone to get through it, because that's what I'm trying to do, right? Is I'm I'm trying to get through tomorrow, which is my granddaughter's first birthday without Jed. Can you imagine that? I mean,
Yeah, I've just went through
you've
it.
been there, right?
It
So
sucks.
I and I've got to be with my in-laws and put on a happy face and be the funny guy, and I'm just going to be torn up inside,
Now, do the
without.
kids, I mean, it's so challenging to want to share that, especially with Samantha, David and James, um, But on the other hand, you're like, well, shit, I don't want to ruin the baby's first birthday. I don't want grandpa to be all gloomy. But they got to feel it too. I mean, shit, it's their mom, so they got to feel it too. Have you talked about it, or is it just easier to just not talk about it right now?
Great question.
Thank you.
So yesterday, I actually went out and had a beer and a appetizer with my son's girlfriend. That they live together, and James was working, and so we just kind of ran around the corner to a local pub, had an appetizer and a beer, and we had a great talk and a lot about that. About how he feels, where he's at, because she deals with it every day. I know I talk to Sam a lot about it every day. Those two, Sam and David, are lucky they have babies. So they have a whole different view on life and focus on life. Where I worry about my son James, where he's got a great girlfriend, she's amazing, but he was a mama's boy, and sorry, James, if you watch this. um, there's and I don't know how to I don't know how to deal with it. I can't deal with myself most of the time. Oh, impart any kind of structure or help with my kids, but I do the best I can, and
Again, I just ran from it. I avoided it. I didn't share with Chris and Zach what I was going through. I didn't get into what they were going through. Zachy was off in the military. So we weren't talking as much. Chris and I, were down the street from each other. He was living in my house. Um, and that really has come back to bite us, because we're just now kind of starting to let it out. It's almost like, finding the frozen caveman, and just it's thawing out, and it was damaging. I'm glad that you guys are trying to face it more out the gate. And I know with Samantha, you've got that, relationship, daughter's a little bit different maybe, but yeah, that was a real big mistake on my part, is not expressing that, especially during the holidays. I remember Chris and I had a real blowout one time at the office. He came in, and we were working together, and we got into an argument, just like the stupidest argument in the world. And he stormed out, and he came back a couple minutes later crying and was like, "Dad, I'm sorry." And I go, "Babe, I know why we got in this argument, and I know why we're both crying, and I know why we're both emotional, and it has nothing to do with what we got in an argument about. You know, Mom's not here, right?" We would have both looked at Mom and said, "Would you take care of this?" Right?
right.
And she would have taken care of it. But it was just a stupid thing. But the fact that we couldn't vocalize, whatever the term is, why we were hurting. And this was like 3 years after she had passed, right? And so the holidays have been like that for us for a while. We kind of danced around the fact that Mom's not here for the holiday, as if for somehow it would make it less painful. But it doesn't. It makes it more so. We should embrace the fact of how much we loved her, how much we miss her, and how important she was in the holidays, instead of trying to avoid the subject as if it's just the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, and I did that a little bit today. and I don't know why, because we're in I'm because you all don't know, I'm in Sacramento, um, where my kids lived and went to school, and Jen loved coming up here. Just to be with the kids, and that's the one place she loved to travel to. And the boys let me take them downtown to some places she loved. There's some great, little places that you can play games, putt, play arcade game. I mean, just fun bars and stuff in downtown Sac. And I think, I don't know if I try to get sad sometimes, but I think about all the things that she loved doing and reminding them that she loved it. And I don't know if that's good or bad. To that point, the boys handled it really, really well. James was like, yeah, Dad, she loved it. So let's just go there and hang out, and we'll have a couple beers and, play a stupid game that Mom wanted to play. Let's go. And, sometimes the kids are just better medicine than our brains, right? I mean, they have a better handle on it. We have a different relation with the gals. Married to someone 30 years is something that doesn't happen without a lot of effort and love. And that's what we did, man. And so these holidays have been ups and downs, goods and bads. And, we'll have to figure out the next ones coming up.
Well, I've vowed to be better for the next Christmas because I have 300 some odd days to work on it.
Well, you got Valentine's, you got Easter.
Oh, I don't do Valentine's. I don't do Valentine's. It's stupidest fucking holiday. I don't do Valentine's. But you'll get to where I am as far as the balancing act of the new partner. It's a weird dynamic. Like I said, Alicia was a rock star for this Christmas. She is for all Christmas. She loves Christmas too. She has her Christmas savings account, so she makes sure she's got money to buy everybody presents, and she does the stockings and stuffs them with all this shit. It's really great, right? And bakes and the whole kit and caboodle, right? So it's a fine line though between just trying to merge the two, right? Like you've got the feelings of missing someone for the holidays, but you've got an amazing person there with you for the holidays. So you worry about being fair, right? Like I can't be a complete douchebag because I don't want to ruin your Christmas just because I'm going through this stuff. And then when she says to me, "Are you okay? What's going on? You're kind of quiet or you're looking in the distance." I really don't want to say, "Well, I really miss someone." It's
I
like,
miss
well, what am
April.
I, chopped liver? I'm here now, like in the flesh. You can, I'm right
Yep.
here. So that's a tough one. Fortunately, my kids adore her. They really have taken to Elisa. She's an awesome gal. So that's helped a lot. If that wasn't the case, it would be really tough. So you'll get that. And as we move along in the holidays, it's just something every year, it's coming, right? You just have to figure out how to work through it.
Yeah. So as we wind this down, let's run a little safety message to all these folks that are listening, right?
Safety message?
Safety
Okay.
message. Use a condom. Um, but more important, sorry.
I had so many thoughts. Brother, I swear to God, my tongue is bleeding. I am biting my tongue. I'm just not gonna say. I'm being so good, right?
Um, if you have kids, listen and focus on your kids. They need you more than you know it. Even though you're hurting, you still have to be the adult in the room. And that's the one thing I've preached to myself every day is I can't be the child. I have to be the adult. And again, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to miss. But we all have to, at some point, move on at whatever pace we run on. To you, sir.
Well, and also it's massively important to share. Don't bury it. Don't run from it. Don't try to avoid it. Don't try to work around it. Don't try to, you know, you're so much better off sharing it. You'd be amazed at how many people want to help you walk through it, right? Be amazed at how many people want to talk to you about it. How your new spouse or partner or like, your son's girlfriend. I mean, people want to hear what you have to say because people actually do care, and it bearing it is the wrong way to go. And again, that's how we started doing this crazy thing we're doing
Right?
now is that you and I were sharing a lot, right? And it has helped. And we want to share with more people and get people talking. I've had a bunch of people reach out who shared stuff with me that I'm like, dude, I had no idea, and I've known you a long time. And it means a lot. People feel better. People really want to help. So, that's it for me is share, 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 get it out, work through it. It's the only way through.
That's what we're here about because we're going to deal with grief one bite at a time because we love you all and we're just going to chit chat and talk about shit that goes on.
Yep. So stay tuned for the next episode. This has been Holiday Part 2 with my brother Jim. I love you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you kind of made it through so far. And we'll touch base on the other side and catch up with you on the travels with Jim.
5,000 miles. I'm still alive.
Love it. All right, brother. See ya.
Love you.
Love you.
This has been our weekly broadcast, brought to you by the Grief Podcast Studios. We can be found in audio-only format on all the popular podcasting platforms. Remember to like and subscribe and to hit that alert button so you don't miss any episodes. Thanks again, and until next time, treat yourself gently. And don't bite off more than you can chew. Healing is a process.